So we'll just quickly see what we are trying to automate in the ESRS toolset for the carbon ops environment that we have at our disposal. So essentially, we are only concerned with right now. It's the version 1 of the carbon ops software as a service. It's ever gonna keep on evolving. But right now, currently, as of today, the day that you're watching the video, it only covers the ESRS double materiality assessment. So over here, I have the group report that's published by BMW for the year 2024. And so basically, these large corporations, that's a pretty long report, first of all, 432 pages. And large corporations like BMW, they publish a group report that entails every reporting framework that they report on. So it entails the TCFD framework, the GRI framework, and similarly, because that's a European major company, uh, that has its headquarters in the European Union, it also covers the ESRS framework. So if I jump to page number 228, you land on this table over there. And this table is exactly what we're trying to automate with Carbon Ops. So in this table, the company discloses what topics it believes are material for itself. And these topics are situated in the ESRS implementation guideline. So the implementation guidance that's published by ESRS entails all of these topics that are segregated into environmental, social, and governance. So now to select those topics and only report on the topics that you believe are important for an organization, you have to perform something that's called as a double materiality assessment. That's a pretty long procedure, as and you'll get to know that procedure once you watch the later parts of this video. But you have to determine whether a topic is the one that you're going to report or not, and that's the process that we are trying to automate with the help of Carbon Ops toolset. So for each topic, you generate impacts, risk, and opportunities, and then you view those impacts, risk, and opportunities from two lenses: financial materiality lens as well as impact materiality lens, and then make a decision whether you want to report on this topic or not. So similarly, BMW Group and its consultants might have performed this double materiality assessment process and then arrived that they should report on these topics, and also constructed this table. So this table is a composition of the topic, the identified material risks and opportunities, the type, whether it has a positive impact, a negative impact, the time horizon, whether it's a short term, long term, or medium term, and then the subtopic, like it's a very specific topic that they are diving in, and that's what they disclose over here. And similarly, if you even read this report, they will make certain disclosures on these topics that are again according to the implementation guidance that's published by ESRS and the EFRAG guys, the European Financial Reporting Advisory Group. But the disclosure part is not what the Carbon Ops, what the current version of Carbon Ops covers, but the process to determine whether you want to disclose on this topic or not is the process that the current version of Carbon Ops covers. So with this video, we'll be cover the ESRS materiality assessment process with Carbon Ops. So I'm on this panel, which is ESRS, and the first place that we'll go to is obviously the first section, which is ESRS IRO generator. So the IRO here stands for impacts, risk, and opportunities. And if you take a look at the ESRS implementation guideline, you need to perform a double materiality assessment process, meaning you have your data set, you have your entire corpus of data, and you also have topics that you need to perform this assessment on. So ESRS is a very granular and fixated reporting framework that also gives companies very granular level materials to consider for materiality assessment. And after considering or after going through the assessment process over and out, you need to report on the topics that are material for the organization and also state the reasons why you arrived at the topic being a material or being immaterial for an organization. And the reasons are fixated in the impacts, risk, and opportunities that we generate for these topics. And In ESRS, you need to perform materiality assessment from two lenses. One is financial materiality, meaning how does out external events like earthquake, landslide, to name a few, might impact your financial operations within the company. So, and the second lens is impact materiality, meaning how the business operations that a company carries out impact the external larger world. So we have to view everything from two lenses, and even if one of them satisfies, even if your topic is financial material but not impact material, and the other way around, you decide or you need to report on the topic in the ESRS report that you'll be building for your organization with certain disclosures that are in the ESRS implementation guidance. But we'll not be going into the disclosures right now. We'll be focusing on the generation of impacts, risks, and opportunities. So once you come to the ESRS IRO generator, you need to click on the select a client button and then go ahead and select your client. So we have been taking Microsoft Tech Global for the entirety of the tutorial series. So we'll go with that. Now, these topics that you see, these topics are taken from the ESRS implementation guideline are in line with what ESRS proposes for a level of granularity. So now each of these topics are divided into three segments: environmental, social, and governance concerns, and then they are detailed into the following segments, like being the topic, the subtopic, and the subtopic. So if your topic is climate change, then a subtopic might be climate change adaptation. Similarly, if a topic is climate change, the subtopic might be climate change mitigation. So these are two levels that you can see, but for some topics, you even have three level bifurcation. Like you have the topic, so the topic might be water and marine resources, the subtopic might be marine resources, and the subtopic might be extraction and use of marine resources. So such a level of granularity we are focusing on. And imagine having to generate impacts, risk, and opportunities for this level of detail, and not to account for, the large corpus of data set that you might have. Things obviously become difficult, and it's not a situation that you might be wanna in. It's not something that you would want to do even in the worst of your dreams. So and that's what we are automating at Galvanauts. So let's say I want to generate impacts, risk, and opportunities for climate change, with the subtopic being climate change adaptation. And this is one of the most important topics that you need to account for materiality assessment process. So I click on the generate IRO button, and it's going to take that entire corpus of document as grounds knowledge, as source knowledge, and then generate these impacts, risk, and opportunities along with the citations, so that everything could be traced back to the source documents. Once that's done, I can click on view IRO, and you could see I have positive impacts, negative impacts, risks, and opportunities generated for me. And similarly, I could also see citations over in this clickable box. So you have citation one, which might be a 2000 character chunk from one of the documents that you uploaded. I could see that it's from the Microsoft TCFD report. Similarly, the chunk two is also from the TCFD report. Chunk three, the same document. And yeah, so you could see you have a lot of TCFD report citation, and it generally makes sense because climate change is very much aligned with TCFD reporting, because TCFD reporting stands for Task Force on Climate Related Financial Disclosures. Awesome. So I could see that I have positive impacts. So let's take one example for each of them. So for in positive impacts, I could see Microsoft supports communities and helps protect freshwater resources in high water stress locations. So that's one. Then it says Microsoft enables global climate resilience through AI powered solutions such as the Planetary Computer and AI for Good Lab. So that's a particular policy that we're talking about, which is pretty good. So that's a very detailed response and something that we would like to have for our materiality process, for our double materiality assessment as part of a positive impact. The second is negative impact. So it talks about something related to physical impacts from climate change, such as extreme weather events that could compromise the reliability of Microsoft's cloud services, potentially affecting millions of customers globally and damaging the company's reputation. And now let's talk about risks. So these are the risks. So it talks about physical risks from climate change, such as increased frequency of extreme weather events, that pose a threat to the operational continuity of Microsoft's data centers and global assets, with probability and impact model under RCP 4.5 and RCP 8.5 scenarios for 2030 and 2050. Now, if you take a look at these, this particular that's generated, it talks about scenario modeling, and that's very peculiar to TCFD analysis, and that also is a pretty good indication that our pipeline is working fine, because you could see that a lot of citations were from the TCFD report itself, and we could see a glimpse of that in this particular list that's generated for us. Then it talks about opportunities, something that Microsoft could do. So it talks about Microsoft's AI-driven disaster response tools, such as those developed by the AI for Good Lab, present a scalable opportunity to support first responders and governments in managing climate-related disasters. All of that stuff. Really cool. Now, once you are happy with the impacts, risk, and opportunities that are generated, you need to save these IROs back in your database so that we can move on to the second step, which is rating these IROs on basis of financial materiality as well as impact materiality. So just go ahead and hit the add and save button, and it's going to save this IRO or these IROs to our database. Now we move to the second step, and the second step is rating these IROs on two lenses of financial materiality as well as impact materiality. So for that, I'll go to the second tab, which stands for DMA. So DMA is double materiality assessment. Now you have two bars, or you could say some sort of cards over here, that let you rate impact materiality on scale, scope, and irremediable character, and financial materiality on scale, on scope, likelihood, and irremediable character. And remember, we are rating the IROs that were generated in terms of impact materiality and financial materiality. And you also see something that's something like a score or a band for both of these materiality lenses. What are these? So for that, I'll just go ahead and close this and go to the second pane, which is ESRS DMA threshold setter. Now from over here, you could set your weights and scale and scores for both your impact materiality as well as financial materiality. So according to ESRS, impact materiality and those IROs that we generated are scored on impact materiality based on the scale, the scope, and the irremediable character that these IROs would likely have on the outer environment, on the external world, by the processes that are carried from your organization. Now, financial materiality means that those IROs financial impacts are scaled on scope, likelihood, and irremediable character. And the three of them for each of these lenses should account for 100% score. Now you could assign your weights. So let's say I want to assign more weight to my scale as compared to scope. So I'll increase scale by 3 units, thus making it go all the way from 34 to 37. And then I'll decrease the scope value, the scope weightage by 3 units, making it go from 30 to 33 to 30. So that everything accounts to 100%. And then if I like, I could change the financial materiality weightage, the weights for financial materiality, and if I don't, I wouldn't really change them. Now these weights would differ based on the industry of the client that you are analyzing, or maybe the operations that your client really carries out. But anyways, now from over here, you could also set your impact bands, meaning if you rate something on scale, scope, and irremediable character for impact materiality, and same goes for financial materiality, the overall score would be something that sits in the range between 0 to 100. And now you would set three threshold values. So you set the threshold value for rating something as being low severity value, rating something as being moderate, and rating something as being significant. Low means that's not material, and moderate and significant means that's material, and we should report on the topic. Similarly, same goes for the financial bands. And then once you have your scores aligned, you can quickly test how everything is working out for you. So you can quickly test out what's the score and what's the band value over here, and same goes for the financial part also. And then once you're done, you need to hit on the save button so that your scores, your thresholds, and weights get saved back in your database. But I won't be hitting the save button. I'll just go with this golden ratio that I have for scale, scope, and irremediable character, which is 34, 33, and 33. something like 1:3 kind of weightage assigned to each of these values. All right, now let's go back to our IRO generator. So I'll select my client, and remember we generated IRO for climate change adaptation. So I'll click on view IRO because I saved, it's already present, and then I'll go to DMA. Now I've observed that this topic is material for every company out there. So I'll rate everything to severe. Same goes for scope, same goes for irremediable character and impact materiality. So you could see that I have a score of being 100, and then the band is set to significant, which means it's impact material. Topic is impact material. I'll do the same for financial materiality. Rate everything to severe so that the final band score is significant. Now, I know you did all of this, but how are you going to remember what you did, why you did, and how are you going to communicate everything that you did within other colleagues or consultants or internal team members within or outside your organization, depending upon whom you're working with? That's where our AI workflow also kicks in. So based on the IROs, the AI is going to generate reasoning as to why you think the topic's financially material, the topic is material from an impact materiality point of view, and the negatives and positives. So negatives and positives are nothing but the summary of the negative impacts, positive impacts, and everything in just a very brief and concise manner. So I'll click on let AI generate reasoning. So it's our pipeline is going to fetch those IROs that you saved and analyze and fill in all of these values. All right. So I'll click on assumptions, click on open, and that's the reasoning that it gives me. All reasoning is based on the provided IRO text, no explicit timeline for adaptation effectiveness, and the slider values align with the described severity, scope, and irremediability in the IRO evidence. And then if you like to edit something, put something, you can quickly type in and click on apply, and it's going to get saved. So these were the assumptions. Now this is financial reasoning. So meaning why the AI thinks you scored everything like you did, and sort of generate a summary that tells other people and even you, your future self, as to why this topic is financial material. Then same goes for the impact reasoning, the negative impacts, positive impacts summarized in a very brief manner. And because it's material from both perspective, I'm gonna disclose on this topic, and that's why I'll deem this topic as being material. So if you try to toggle this off, it means the topic is not material, but if you try to toggle this on, it means the topic is material. And then click on save DMA analysis, and it's going to save the analysis in the database for you. So likewise, you'll do this sort of analysis for every topic out there. And if I'm not mistaken, it's close to 100 or so topics. Try doing that manually and you're set up for a ride. All right. Now, once that's done, you can go to the third section, which is DMA results. And that's where you'll be able to export everything, the analysis that you did in a CSV format so that you could share them within your teammates, with consultants, or even export everything to a business intelligence tool like Power BI. So I click on my client, Microsoft Tech Global, and then it gives me the topic that I saved, right? Climate change adaptation. That was the financial materiality score, the impact materiality score. It's material, so yes is over there. Then the AI reasoning that it generated. So the assumptions, financial reasoning, impact reasoning, negatives and positives, and then you can go ahead and download your CSV. That was a lot, but yeah, we saved a lot of time. Imagine having to do that all manually, and it's a nightmare. It's a horrible, horrible nightmare. But with Carbon Ops, you are set for success in a very short span of time. That's pretty much it. And that puts an end to our video tutorial series for the version 1 of the tool. But the tool is going to keep on evolving, it's going to keep on becoming better, and we would have a lot of videos coming into the future. But that's all as of today.